The title of this solo podcast is the Limitless Human. Every human being is born and actually lives with a very precious, a very delicate, a very magical, and a very grand possibility. He does not realize this. He looks at things from the standpoint of potential. He does not see things from the standpoint of what he already has. This possibility that exists within him is something that is channeled from the void or from the ether, from some poorly understood and mysterious place which houses all the secrets of mankind. And every human being has it. What must be understood by the rare human, it frankly must be understood by everyone, but I know that the ears of everyone are not so attuned as to imbibe these sorts of truths. So for the individual who is that rare human, what he must realize is that this thing within him is a limitlessness. He has the ability to channel and to access ideas and magical possibilities and truths that he can use to his own benefit and for the benefit of the world. But it is so delicate. It is as delicate as a butterfly's wings. It is broken by a stiff breeze. It is so delicate that it can only live inside of a quarantined room. Any exposure to the outside world destroys it, contaminates it, minimizes it. Any association with any other human being is an enormous limitation. You did not hear what I just said because I spoke it too easily. Any association with another human being is an enormous limitation. One's limitlessness is only preserved and able to be accessed in complete solitude. Now, even solitude is a problem, because when one remains in solitude, his mind has still imbibed the conditioning of the outside world for however long he has lived. And it is that conditioning that speaks to him. So the mind is the world. The mind is a mirror of the world, internalized. When one is in solitude, that mind will speak the world's language to him. It will use words like be practical, and is this thing really possible? And what have others done? And what if you are wrong? and all of these things, and all of these, and what must be answered. I mean, these things are, this is really things that are never discussed about anywhere in society, anywhere. What must be understood is that these questions, or these comments made by the world / the mind, of is it practical, and what if it's not possible, and so forth. Everyone falls for the trap of trying to answer them. And then they go and associate with people, and it doesn't matter who it is. All people are useless. Every human being other than you is useless to you. He or she not only can, but absolutely will limit you. There is no choice. Because as I said, this possibility is so delicate that a stiff breeze destroys it. And association with human beings is a hurricane and a tsunami. Forget a stiff breeze. So what must be understood is that everyone will try to answer those questions, including you. You will try to reason with your mind and say, well, it is possible, and others have done it, and I can do it better, and so forth. And every answer that you give is a limited answer, because the question was limited. I'll say that again. Every answer that you give to a limited question must be a limited answer. If the question is, can you reach level 8? Your response will immediately begin at somewhere between 7 and 9. That's limitation. And it's an arbitrary limitation. When someone is asked the question, can you get to level 8? No human being begins at level 1000 in his response. Nobody. 0. That isn't how the mind is wired. It will always begin with whatever it's given. That is what it'll consider its starting point. And in most cases, its ending point. So true limitlessness the possibility of accessing that delicate, magical, limitless possibility, it only exists in solitude. Because there is no human being that you will ever meet in your entire life who will not limit you. He will give you answers. And the answers that he gives you will be society's answers. Every human being is infected. Every human being is a virus. Every human being is conditioned. It is for this reason that one must be quarantined. Now, that gets rid of a major problem, but then a new problem begins, and that is that the human being himself is conditioned. But at least now one can deal with one person's conditioning without having the added weight and added problems of added conditionings on a daily basis. So the possibility of becoming limitless only exists in isolation, in solitude. When one gets to the point with his mind that the idea of practicality no longer exists, then he jumps to a new level, an entirely new level. There are many, many more levels than that. And if the stiff breeze touches any of them, they will all fall like dominoes. So in one's own mind, one must create a universe of limitlessness. More accurately, one must create the permission for the limitlessness that already exists. And that permission is not found anywhere in this world. In fact, all that is found in this world are hindrances, and you will spend your life trying to surmount obstacles that are constantly thrown in your path. And each obstacle that you attempt to surmount will be a wasted amount of time. All these things take time. And you'll spend 50 years surmounting obstacles, none of which would have existed had you remained in isolation and not exposed this limitless possibility to the stiff breeze and the tsunami and the hurricane that is society. So one must arrive at the permission of no concept of practicality, of no concept of impossibility. Because if one does not remain in isolation, he will view things from the standpoint of what has already been done, and that will become his 8th level, so to speak. And even if he gets to level 10, that doesn't answer the question. That just answers the questions of competition, that he may become better. That does not even approach what the limitless level was. So it is for this reason that I believe nobody, I talk to nobody, I imbibe nobody, I do not read books. I already know that everything out of everyone's mouth, no matter how intelligent it may sound, is conditioned. It is limited. And I don't view what people say, I don't play the game of comparing what they say versus what others say and then categorize one person's speech as more intelligent than another, because that's just comparing limitations. This person's a little bit less limited than this person. That's all a limited pursuit, the entire thing. So you have to go where no human being has gone before. And in order to go where no human being has gone before, you cannot go there with human beings. There's a reason why no human being has gone there before. And it isn't because he didn't have the aptitude. It is because his limitless possibility was destroyed. There can be no self-doubt. The mind cannot question you. There can be no practicality. There can be no comparison to what's already been done. Those are not the questions, and it's all about questions. The question is, where can I arrive if limitations simply did not exist? And you can look under every single rock in this world and you'll never find that question. All you will find in this world is limitations. Because everyone will speak to you according to their own conditioned responses. Now, one might wonder, what do I mean by one cannot use practicality? Well, practicality is always one of the main excuses that's given by the conditioned world. Be practical, be realistic. And as soon as you hear that, you're finished. Because then you're fighting, even if you don't believe that, then you're fighting against that statement. And that very fighting against it is a false obstacle that has been created against which you now have to spend energy and time fighting. Whereas if that never existed, if you didn't expose yourself to society or other people, then that false obstacle would not have arisen. So, insane, impractical, unimaginable, laughable possibilities. These are not meant for any serious individual to share with the world. For to share it with the world is to destroy them in the womb. This is why the serious person spends his time alone, overcoming and conquering all of the conditionings that have led to the clipping of the delicate wings of possibility. A human being has no limits. But as soon as he associates with people and society, he has nothing but limits. So the limitless human is the one who fears destroying the possibility that nature bestowed upon him. And he cannot risk giving that away. Good night.